independence. We should not identify as anything. We should identify first as Anglophones and only as Anglophones. Then we have the two options, federalism or independence, on the dialogue table. Independence. We should not identify as anything. We should identify first as Anglophones and only as Anglophones. Then we have the two options, federalism or independence, on the dialogue table. Full stop. Seek ye first federalism and independence, and all good things like roads, hospitals, good schools, jobs, after schools, and the rest will be added unto you. Seek ye first federalism or independence, and all good things like roads, good jobs, better quality of life, high life, everything would be added unto you. Seek ye first. Seek ye first. So I don't know what Mr. Tasang Wilfred is talking about when he says, oh, students must go back to school. They are the students who are losing their education. Are you not also doing it? We are the parents. I have students, I have people I'm sponsoring in Cameroon. All my siblings, I'm sponsoring them. Just to put the facts clear. And it pains. When I sponsor somebody, you go to school, you come out, you don't have a job. It pains. It really pains. That you go to school, you don't have a job. You watching me, how long did it take after you graduated for you to get a job? And did you get a job within your field? How much were you even paid? Sometimes I feel like it is so bad, I feel like we should even stop this idea of boarding schools. Because somebody pays 400,000 francs consistently since Form 1, 400,000 francs till upper seat. Then the family still pays his education for the university, and the person leaves and he doesn't get a job. Really? So all that money since Form 1, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, excluding even the feeding, excluding the transportation and all of those miscellaneous. Then you graduate from high school, you go into the university, you still pay 50,000 francs, your father still raises money for you to rent a house in UB or in SWA or whatever. You leave from there, you still don't get a job. Really? In this system? The system is a scamming system. It's dubious. It's a gangster system. It rapes its own poor citizens. It kills its own poor citizens. Stop the school. Stop the school. Let us address the problem. Stop the school. Stop it. Do you know how parents are suffering? I went to a boarding school. I saw how parents, farmers, will sell all their crops just to raise funds for their children. Then you still leave from a university. You spend 8 years without a job. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Without a job. Then the next job you even have is a volunteer job. You are paid only 30,000 francs. So all that money that was spent from 400,000 francs since Form 1, what was it for? Therefore, there's a problem with the system. There's a problem with the system. That system should be changed. Then you come up and say the students should go to school. Go to school for what? I would prefer them if you ask my humble opinion, my father should have given me that 400,000 francs since Form 1. I should have been a millionaire today. I should have been a focal. I should have been a focal. I put it into business. People should invest. We are investing for the future. But when you invest and there's no future, then you should stop the investment. We invest for the future. But when you invest and there is no future, then stop the investment. As simple as that. Stop it. Somebody says, Shwabid Adamu Jimara says, we wrote medicine exam. Oh, come on. That was a brilliant comment. Yeah, we wrote medical exams until we got tired. For a fact, when I left from high school, I was a very brilliant student, according to what people said and according to my GCE results. I went and I sat for Qs, and I failed. And when I wrote these Qs, I told my parents, I told everybody, I must pass these Qs because the exams were so cheap. But I failed because, of course, they wanted money. They wanted bribery. They wanted bribery. That is a fact. That is a fact. In Cameroon. What is even the essence? Look at all that mandat thing. When they say mandat 20,000 francs, I hope the francophones are listening to me. Je vais parler en français, s'il vous plaît. I hope those francophones are listening to me. In my next video, I'll be speaking in French so that I should explain this thing so that the francophones know that they live in a rogue state and they are suffering themselves. They are putting themselves at risk. Everybody enjoys better life out of the country, enjoys even in Nigeria. Nigeria is a federalist state or whatever, but they are better off than us. According to Dr. Ngwache Francis, in his book that I read in 2008, Cameroon, in 2008, I read this book. Cameroon is, he was comparing Cameroon and Nigeria. He said, where Nigeria is today, where Cameroon is today, Nigeria was in 1972. That is his line from his book. Ngwache Francis, Dr. Ngwache Francis, who died of blessed memory. Where Cameroon is today, Nigeria was in 1972. 1972. Terrible system. Very terrible. Terrible. All right. Princess, if you know all that, then, Princess, if you know all that, then you should stop talking about federation. Look, this is one of the things bringing us apart. Unite as Anglophones and not as federation. Unite as Anglophones and not as independence. We should unite. You are watching me here because I speak in English. And unite. The power of this struggle is Anglophone oneness. Is the Anglophone oneness. It's not whether you stand on the federalist scale or you stand on the independent scale. Because even in a pure democracy, even in what we call direct democracy, there can never be 100% votes. People who always have their own ideology. So do you want to keep those people aside? Those people who are contributing hugely to this struggle? Not now. At minimum, everybody wants freedom. At least, even if you bring the best Anglophones or the most crooked Anglophones, they want freedom somehow. So at minimum, everybody wants freedom. But at maximum, they have their own preferences for freedom. So let us start from that minimum scale and move towards that change. When you arrive that stage, let me tell you for a fact, the people who want federation also want independence. This is a fact. The people who want federation want it at minimum. At maximum, they want independence. If you go to that dialogue table or whatever, and you have the independence, they'll be so happy. Because they want freedom at a minimum scale. They want freedom, at least they want freedom. No Anglophone I've met says he doesn't want freedom. All say they want freedom. But now it is the matter of choices. You cannot force people to choose, to say, I know you must get this. No. So unite, get the common hook. That is the strategy. Get the common hook. Since day one, I've been saying this. We should unite as Anglophones and not whether you stand on SDF scale or CPDM or whatever. You get it? All right, someone says, Patrick, some small boy daddy says, no overtalk, so made a blog this account too. Thank you very much. Happy Merry Christmas. Yes, we should get united. Ate Brenda says that we should get united. Thank you very much, Ate Brenda, for that. It's a brilliant talk. So educate people to get united as Anglophones. For now, we should get united as Anglophones. We have not even reached the dialogue table. We have already started debating. Oh, no, it's federalism, it's independent. That's so childish. It is so childish. It is childish. So do you mean you want to also discredit the consortium? Because the consortium have clearly stated that they want federalism. They wrote it in bold letters. Look at the latest communique. We've been successful today because of the consortium. And this is my homework about the consortium. The people are the ones having the power, not the consortium. The people are the ones having the power. Unlike Paul Biya, who has the power, we are having the consortium. The consortium is our own presidency. Biya is their own presidency. This is the enemy fight. The consortium is our own presidency. Biya is their own presidency. So we should guard the integrity of our consortium. We don't expect our consortium leaders to be coming on Facebook Live and talking to us. No, that is our own presidency. Keep them at one corner. We should protect them. Protect that our consortium, because the people, the opposing, the enemies, Mr. Biya and his gangster regime fear that consortium. They wonder why we are giving so much power to that consortium. Yes, it is our own presidency, and they cannot hack into that consortium. So it is our own power. We will release the power of that consortium when Chiruma Bakari releases Paul Biya for dialogue. Then our consortium will come openly now to speak to dialogue. You get it? So for now, just like what Chiruma Bakari is doing, Master Tok Tok, that is how Baramak, Tapang Ivo are doing. We are also talking, we are the riffraffs. We are the ones talking about fanning the flames for our consortium, blowing our trumpet, blowing our consortium's trumpet. That is how the strategy should work. But at the background, those leaders should be there. They are there. and they should be well guarded and given maximum respect. Then, when the point comes for dialogue, we will say, okay, Chiroma Bakari will give the road for President Paul Biya to come up to dialogue, and we will also clear the way for our Grand Frères, that consortium, to come up. Then the job is done. Ivo, please make a small video on WhatsApp, brief video, maximum 7 minutes, but rich, with key issues. Let's share it. Okay, I'll do that. Sometimes I always talk too much. Thanks. I'll do that, exactly. All right, how do we predict the government strategies? Good, that's a very brilliant question. Let me see who wrote this question. That's Charles Nge. Charles Nge says, how do we predict the government strategies? It's very simple to predict the strategies. If you've been living in Cameroon since since Biya came to power in 1982, you should already know his strategy. The first strategy of Biya is his power of silence. He practices what we call the spiral of silence theory. You know, Biya does not speak out. He is himself, but those people are very vulnerable. Those people who don't speak out is a strategy. The way to crack them is resistance. Once you put resistance, let me tell you how the regime will fall. Let me tell you, in a very peaceful way. That's why I said nobody should use violence. In a very peaceful way, this regime will crack. Let me give you a strategy. At this moment, whatever is holding Biya in power, we don't seek regime change. I have never sought regime change, because regime change will be the worst outcome for Cameroon, because there is no clear transition. There is no clear succession. And when you look at conflicts across Africa, it's born out of no clear, smooth transition. People fight for power when the leader leaves. At this moment, that is not our humble take, but this is what I want to tell you. Biya in power right now is being held by the Francophones. Have you seen any significant proportion of Francophones revolting against Paul Biya? No. Talking against the system? No. Or supporting Anglophones? No. Biya is being supported by Francophones at this moment. They are the ones giving him the legitimacy, the power to stand against the Franco-Anglophones. That is why he keeps his silence, but in fear. That is why he's so afraid that the Francophones should not speak or join the Anglophones. That is why they have started using strategies like flags. Oh, we are burning down flags, just to create that panic, that fear. You get it? And the Francophones already know. They've been trained by their parents. They have been conditioned. Their mindsets have been hardwired to think that the Anglophones have all the resources, and if they break up, they will lose. So the Francophones are very cautious. But believe me, this is a strategy I want to give. Right now, the education system is the strongest interest in Cameroon. That is why the pressure should be on the education system. We should not go to school. We should boycott education. The regime is already cracking and fracking. At this moment, if you put pressure on the education system, the Francophones have their sons and daughters in our system. And not any kind of Francophones. They are the rich Francophones, those elites who have their sons and daughters in our school. And they are very worried that the education system will be altered, and the lives or the careers, the academic careers of their children will be distorted if we continue the strike. That is why they are rushing madly to hold meetings that dialogue should hold or whatever, and school should resume in January. Ask yourself why they are not doing that for the lawyers. Why only teachers? The lawyers have been striking since 4 months ago, but the teachers started striking 1 month ago or 2 months ago. So why are they rushing only for students? 200,000 students, in Anglophone and in students and peoples. Why are they rushing only for students? Because they are afraid. The pressure is coming from the French system, the elite who have their sons and daughters in our schools. They are very much afraid. They don't love you. No, it's not a matter of love. No, it is for their interest. Get the fact. Get the fact. So if you keep pressure on the education system, they will start speaking against Paul Biya. That is a fact. So you guys should be very careful. Put the pressure. Just keep the pressure. No school should open. Don't send your children to school. Even if the teachers say come to school, don't send them. At this moment, we are making principals to understand that students and teachers have the right to have their salaries, even if they respect the strike. You've seen a couple of interviews I've run. So teachers should be fully confident now that they cannot cut their salaries. I've run interviews. Go to my other page that has been suspended and you listen to the interview. So at this stage, keep the pressure on education. Once you keep the pressure on education, the system will frack, because the people, the Francophones will start turning against Biya, saying, why are our students not going to school? Ivo, this is what? Ivo, we are not going, Mr. Biya, we are not going to school. Of course. Then the second thing is put economic pressure. At this stage, there's what we call in statistics something statistically significant and substantively significant. At this stage, the economy of Cameroon, the GDP growth rate per annum, per year, the annual GDP growth rate is only less than 5%, which means that the economy is very weak, very fragile, and vulnerable to collapse. So if you put the pressure on the economy, it will be statistically significant. If Anglophones put the pressure on the economy, whatever sector closes down, believe me, the regime will frack, the regime will crack, it will cave in. Francophones will start feeling the pinch hugely, and their grievances will start swelling. Then they will talk against Buea, and in the process they join us in this strike. So it is a winning strike. When you look at it from every logical standpoint, it is just a matter of patience, it is just a matter of resilience, it is just a matter of resistance. That's all. Let me get some questions. Yeah, someone says education holds the continuity of the strike. Brilliant. Another thing is food. Of course, food. You get it? So the Francophones will join because at minimum, everybody has grievances. We just need a spark. We just need a litmus test. We just need something to trigger the Francophones to start expressing their grievances. And once they do, Buea will give dialogue immediately. Buea is hesitating with dialogue at this moment because the pressure is not that hard. Or the pressure he feels, he predicts that the pressure will fall down. But he is very afraid. Look at the series of meetings he's been trying to hold. They are failing. We are sabotaging all those meetings. So he's very much afraid. You get it? He's very much afraid to institute democracy, just simple dialogue. He's very much afraid. That's why he's trying every means, trying to prove tough. Expect your enemy to also prove tough. Expect that. In a fight, express your enemy to also prove tough. What keeps a fight successful is your ability to resist. It's your ability to be resilient, to keep fighting on. So Buea is fighting on. We should be fighting on. If he doesn't listen to us, we should not listen to him. The moment we start listening to him like the 27th of December, we have failed. If he doesn't listen to us, do not listen to him. As simple as that. Okay. Pressure oil to something. Okay. I think he's a good mind. I think this is a good mind game with him. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's true. All right. What could be our plan B if schools resume in January? Schools are resuming in January. You as a parent, are you sending your children to school? Don't send your children to school. Simple. Don't send your children to school. That's it. That's it. I have my own children. I said I'm not sending them to school anymore. For the past 2 months, they've been at home. They will not go to school. As simple as that. Because I will still work the money and I will still fight for their future somehow. Let me invest the money in some way better. You've been paying boarding school fees for whatever, 400,000 francs every blessed year since Form 1. You left from high school, you got into the university, you still paid school fees, and you rented a house through for 3 years. When you graduated, did you have a job? And how much did they pay you for the job? Do you think even if you work for the rest of your life, you can ever compensate your parents? Really? People have spent 10 years without a job in Cameroon, doing all kinds of odd things after going to boarding schools. Just look at your friends who have gone to boarding schools. Just look at your friends. Where are they today? Let's be honest. Sometimes it's not a matter of pride. Oh, I gave my pikin where to go Sacred Heart, I gave my pikin to go Sacred Heart, and so what? Think about the future. The system has been porous, has been bogus, and the system is out to fail us. And they are reaping the money that we are putting into education system. It goes to Yaoundé. It doesn't help in the development of Bamenda or Southwest. It goes to Yaoundé. That's 400,000 francs every month, every year. So somebody said, I read something, Ivo, I read something on the internet, whatever, about Crooked Chiruma. He said in one of his news conferences that 41 Anglophone brothers arrested on a strike will face the wrath of the law. Prosperity Jail writes that. If they face the wrath of the law, Buea too should face the wrath of the law, because for the past 34 years he's been in power. He's been using repressive tactics on us, arresting innocent civilians. The soldiers who raped our girls, we documented, have not been arrested. The police people who brutalized our lawyers and rolled our students in mud have not been arrested. The gangster regime that has been brutalizing its own civilians, since 1961 with Ijo and now Buea they have not been arrested. So why should they be facing the law? Innocent civilians. For what? For striking? Striking is part of the Constitution. To strike or not to strike is your legitimate right. Even the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, and its 2 additional protocols clearly state that we have the right to strike. We're exercising, what I'm doing right now is I'm exercising my civic responsibility and educating my people, or sharing knowledge and debating knowledge with my people about how we can progress towards a democracy. So release those students and release those people. Nobody has the right to be tried. The thieves who have been stealing state funds. Andre Mama Fuda stole state funds and he's still a minister. 4 billion was discovered in his house, stolen by thieves, and he's still a minister. Really? And then somebody in Bamenda is striking for his right, then you come and arrest him when the real state thief is by you? Stop that nonsense. Yeah, we should have to put pressure on the petrol, someone says. So at the end of the day, we have all the resources. We have all the abilities at some point to even block traffic or whatever. Let the consortium include Transporters Union, because we are fighting for democracy. This is a democratic process. We are fighting for democracy. Believe me, call my name anywhere. I'm fighting. I'm an advocate. I'm an unrepentant advocate for democracy. Unrepentant. I will never repent. And unrepentant advocate for democracy. So no payment of taxes and toll gate. Of course. Why do you want to pay toll gates? Really? Have you seen the roads to Matasam? Have you seen the roads to Ngonoko? Have you seen the roads to call those villages and look at the toll gates? What is the money used for toll gates? This is what I always say: accountability, democratic accountability. What is journalism? I always define journalism. What I'm doing here is journalism. The ability to hold power to account. Simple. The ability to hold power to account. Once you can question power, then you're exercising the right to freedom of expression. What I'm doing, I'm questioning Buea why there is no dialogue. That is freedom of expression. Will you arrest me for doing that? I'm a citizen. I pay my taxes. I'm a Cameroonian. I'm not an American. I'm not a Belgian. I'm not a Chinese. I am a Cameroonian. I'm a taxpayer. I pay my taxes. So I have the right to question power. Why my money is not used to dialogue. Why my money is used to go and bribe Southwest chiefs and bribe Atanganjis and bribe people to sabotage a struggle for democracy. Really? So we have to question power at every second, every minute of our lives. Fuck the government. We will win. I will continue to fight this fight till I see where it ends. Believe me, I will continue to fight this fight. My people will never suffer. And you should also fight. We should never suffer. We should watch each other's backs. We will never suffer. It is finished. 50 years, half a century of suffering is already too much. Really? Do you ever sit down to think half a century of suffering? Half a century. Half a century. That means we will hit a century. Wow. We need pressure on our funds to Ivo. Bangolang dethroned their funds. We need those are not funds. Those are political game changers. We need pressure on them. They practice what we call clientelism. When the election is coming, like in 2018, they come and give them money to rally people to vote them. There is no election. Beginning January 2000.
When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty. The people of West Cameroon have a duty to resist your oppression.